on this episode of The Match Query.
This is Premier League, where things... See, Premier League is such a place that people don't give you space. If you snooze in the last 15 minutes of a game, you will smell your own farts. People will come and present you mess like this. People will come present your mess for you, make you smell.
No, the question should be going to you. What are you trying to imply? What are you trying to... Are you implying that they'll be getting relegated? It's you that's supposed to answer that question now. You're not supposed to answer that question because that's what you're implying.
This is a tweet by Matt Scott. 2017.
It's a very long tweet. I saw that post.
2017, like Galatasaray, after only 10 months, and 18, sacked by Udinese after only 6 weeks. 6 weeks. 2020. 2020. This is where it gets interesting. As Juve's assistant manager after one season.
Assistant manager.
How bad can you get? One is here with the spreadsheets. Easy is here with the smoke. You know, the gang is here, all raring to go. Well, let's get into it. Welcome back to the Match Query. I'm OJ. This is where opinions are strong, agendas are stronger, and nobody is safe. Today, we are asking two big questions shaking English football at the moment. The first one is the Managerial Merry-Go-Round going on between Tottenham as well as Nottingham Forest, spinning out of control, and we are asking questions. Is this still rebuilding, or is this chaos or self-sabotage? And then we go on to former Middlesbrough coach Michael Carrick, who is now the interim coach at Manchester United. Is he genuinely a long-term coaching material, or is he just the ultimate safe pair of hands when it comes to interim management? With me today are the gang, Easy and Bon. Hi guys. Let's get straight into it now. Yeah. So Easy, what are your thoughts? Which is the worst of the pair? Nottingham Forest or Tottenham? What's going on?
So it's been a very funny week, very funny week. Because apparently this week has mirrored what happened in early January where managers lost their job there. I think this week there have been a lot of sackings. You had one in Marseille, you have the one, so there have been some opportunities for new management. So I think the worst of all is Nottingham Forest, because I think the last time we had 3 to 4 managers manage a club, I think that was 2022, 2023. That was Leeds, where Leeds had sacked at some point. They now brought in the relegation specialist Sam Allardyce, which couldn't even still help them because for the first time Sam Allardyce was unable to perform his normal miracle. So I think that is the worst of, because they got 3 managers with different philosophy. The Nottingham Forest did very well last season. For me, overperformed because they were playing some sort of direct football. They were the only team that wasn't... Their coach, Nuno, believes in a philosophy where you have to, how would I put it? You have to... A defense organization is the bedrock of his philosophy, right? So if we cede control to you, the only thing is they're able to push you to a place where they're able to defend, right? And they're able to win balls where they're able to transition faster. So if you check the stats last season, they were one of the teams with quick counters. They were the only team, one of the teams that were not beating for the back, right? So they did all of that bit. They set up a mid-block and prevent you from using the central. So you would have to go around it where they had players that could defend, because they had players that could defend the box easily. So that worked for them to 30 points where, as usual, towards the tail end of the season, they decided to lose team and they could not maintain that. So I think maybe that got Marinakis very angry and decided, because that kind of football is not exciting, right? Where you have control, you're sitting control, and you're just basing your abilities on your defensive, the ability to be able to, your defensive organization is where maybe he wanted more. He overestimated what he could get from that team, because, like I said, the players they had at that point in time fit that pattern. So he went to the market. They got this guy Ndoye from what's his name? Bognia. They got some other players. Omari Hutchison. They got players that they feel they would have the ball and they'll be able to, control. Already they had brought in this guy. What's this guy that left Arsenal? The sporting director, Edu. So Edu had come in and Edu had started to clash it, because I think they brought Edu because they wanted to change the style of football. And they needed someone in that direction, someone that had been in that pattern before. They got that bit and he started to Nuno, I think they had informed Nuno because if you check the first 3 games of the season, Nuno had changed how they want to
His
play.
partner.
He has started to build up for someone that has 70%. 70% was the lowest last season for build up from the back. And it was Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest prefers to go long. Their balls were always long.
And that was when they were
This,
thriving, if you remember, with their striker,
yes, now,
Wood.
with they had someone
Assured of
back to,
one goal at least every weekend.
do you get? Even Wood's contribution reduced this season because, like I said, he was sure with because they had a striker back to go. They had a 10 that could hold Morgan Gibbs, right? And they had fast
Mahouda.
wingers, Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi. So the player they had suits that pattern. So by the time they started to be noise around, oh, him wanting to change the pattern, Nuno decided to oblige. Okay, let's try to build up from the back, and it wasn't working. So Marinakis is very, how would I put it, quick to anger and he's always quick to make decisions. He decided to let Nuno go, which I think was a bad idea, and getting the man that is always, oh yeah, let's play control. He prefers control. You build up from the back and stuff like that. And he got in Ange.
Do you know I did not realize that Ange Postecoglou at Nottingham Forest had a win percentage of 0%.
Yes, that's 0%. He lost.
Yeah.
He lost. He did not win any
Oh my
match.
goodness.
He did not win any match. So it's
That
because
It's
first
a
of all,
ridiculous record for a manager in Premier League.
his style of play made it, how would I put it? The players, having players that are used to a certain style of play, having to tell them to come and start doing post control stuff like that and the whole thing was entirely new to them. And even there were rumors of the players complaining, oh, these tactics were not working because they didn't understand it. Where they had players, now they have to highline, high press. First of all, is one thing I was checking. Do you know Nottingham Forest last season under Nuno? They know they press. They don't believe in pressing. That's
Once they lose the ball, they just go and sit back.
They go and sit back, control that middle, and allow you to. Do you get? So pressing was having them press this time would be difficult. It's like having players used to a certain thing and tell them, oh, okay, this season pressing is not easy, it's high energetic, so you have to do it consistently to be able to maintain that bit. Was unable to.
At this point, it's important to inform our fans that we have an episode coming out. It's another segment of this vodcast. It's called Behind the Lines. The link will be in the bio when this episode has been published to that particular episode, that segment, where we discuss things, tactical things, nuances, things like block. But yeah, go on, easy.
So like I was saying, so that didn't work out and he got sacked under, I think, 39 days. That's the shortest stint. I think the last time too we had someone like that too was in Leeds 2022-2023 where they sacked someone. I think it was Javi Garcia that they sacked within that short time frame when he couldn't deliver, and I think they sacked him under 33 days. And this was 39, and they had to let him go. I think he was sacked. I think they had played Liverpool, or was it Arsenal they played, and he was sacked before the presser after the match. So yeah, they got in. So him knowing that he has made a mistake, decided to revert back to someone with a bit more pragmatic, more defensive, someone that could use the players and he got in Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche was even doing beautiful work for them. So going by the numbers, he has one of the highest win rates for Nottingham Forest managers. So it was a shock to me when I woke up the morning. I think that was Wednesday morning, and so a bit Thursday morning. I heard like, why are you sacking Sean Dyche? He's not doing badly. They had won 3, drawn 4, and lost 1 in 8 games. Don't you think you're having very high expectations of a team that is supposedly not doing so well? He has come in and tried to mend the ship. And what to mend the ship is you might not get the best result at first, but with time they will gradually pick up. So I don't think he was doing badly. So I feel him letting go of Sean Dyche is another, because now he's trying. The mistake was letting go of Nuno, and in the bit of trying to overcorrect that, he has made more mistakes, and he keeps going into more holes in a bit to correct that mistake. So yeah, I think Nottingham Forest zone is the worst, because at least with Tottenham they gave Thomas Frank time. Everybody has been shouting, when is Thomas Frank going? When is Thomas Frank? Because he has been deserving that sack for more than a month now or 2. But they gave him time to see if they could continue with this bet. But yeah.
Let's come to Bon. About Tottenham. What's going on, Bon, in your opinion? Do you think Tottenham even have a football identity anymore with what has been happening? What are your thoughts?
Okay. Before I even proceed to speak about Spurs, there are a couple of points I want to make about Nottingham Forest. Yes, just like how Izzy has said, I wasn't expecting Sean Dyche to get sacked. It's not like Sean Dyche has the highest win percentage of all Nottingham Forest managers, actually. He has the highest win percentage of every manager that Evangelos Marinakis has hired since he took over the club. He's the highest at 47%. No other manager comes close. I think the next person you will see is probably Steven Cooper, because Steven Cooper has stayed the longest under Evangelos Marinakis. The thing is, no sacking was not down to Nuno changing the style of play, actually. No, that was never business. That was really not the gist. No sacking was just, I would call it the political stuff. Talk of what that just went bad. Nuno was made promises. You took us to seventh position the previous season. We are going to back you so that you do well. And that backing was not evident as fast as he would probably have liked. And Nuno came out to the media and made remarks that, of course, those kind of remarks are remarks that sacked people like Amorim this season. Those kind of remarks are remarks that sacked
Maresca.
Maresca as well. You get, so you don't just come out and attack your owner, right? And the influence of Nuno kind of win as well with the arrival of Edu Gaspar, as easy as said. But this is the thing, because Marinakis didn't bring Edu Gaspar to be the director of football for Nottingham Forest. Edu Gaspar is the chief of football for Evangelos Marinakis football architecture. Because mind you, he doesn't just own Nottingham Forest. He also owns the Greek club Olympiacos. He also owns the Portuguese club Rio Ave. So those are clubs under him. So the weight of influence was to go around. But yeah, Izzy already touched base on some of the issues with Nottingham Forest this season. It's just a clear case of correction. I made a mistake and I keep correcting and I'm making more mistakes. But I will go with the contrary view to what Izzy has said about Nottingham Forest being the most. You know why? I will spare them. It's a one season thing. If you look historically, Spurs have just been Spurs. As a term on term, they are just Spurs. Do you get? Spurs
They're
really
just
don't have
Spursy.
an identity. Yes. Like you see, they've really never really had an identity. I think the space of time where Spurs really had an identity was under Pochettino. Right? I think that is the era that we saw a lot of more intent in football and intent in architecture and intent in delivery from the Spurs organization, right? Even though, yeah, categorically there were certain teams like Chelsea that they just found it hard to beat yet another teams. But against some other oppositions, I think Spurs have been a thorn in the flesh to Manchester City during Pep Guardiola's time. That's
But
something
will
that
you
you
say
can't
But
for.
will you say under Conte they didn't
under
have
Conte? Exactly.
an
Is what
identity?
I was about to bring out. Will you say they didn't have an identity under Conte? Because Conte's
They really do
identity.
not have an identity. They really do not have an identity. And I'll tell you why. Identity is not just the coach. Identity is also the structure of the club. That is actually also what forms your identity. From a coaching perspective, you will say, yes, they have identity. All the coaches they had an identity of how they wanted to play. But the Postecoglou, we know, was the highline merchant. Thomas Frank, we know, is the pragmatic god.
That's very important because I remembered when they were, the season that Arsenal could have won the league. I think that was last season. Manchester City won.
Yeah.
No, the season before that. And Manchester City won it. One of
Mhm.
Postecoglou's complaints was about exactly what you are saying. The cultural identity at the club.
He referenced it in his interview with the Overlap. He referenced it that if you go to the sports organization, you will see this very huge mural that says today is to do. But they don't act like a big club. He referenced a lot of things. Like it was a high opening interview where he actually referenced that when he performed very well, coming into this season, he had earmarked certain players he would like the club to go for. He mentioned Ineto. He mentioned the Gay, he mentioned the Semenyo. But the club said, and I think it's something that is translating to a lot of clubs now, right? It's something that's translating to a lot of clubs where they are trying to now go for younger players so that they can
Because
get
of
more
resale value.
upside. Yeah, so that they can get more upside. And I think Spurs also went that direction with Jan Lage and Paratici, even though Paratici has left now, right? Where they went to get in Bergval, I think they got in Bergval, they got in Achigre, and only got Solanke that was the Premier League proven player. Angie said no, I wanted more proven players. But yeah, here's the problem. When you make that kind of investment as a club, if the coach comes and tells you that, yes, you made the investment, I know you made the investment, but this investment is not enough, the club will not look at it from the player profile or performance previously. They will look at it at the monetary disposition of that player. Okay, we got this player at 60 million. Why will you tell me that this player cannot perform? Yeah, that may be the mindset that the club is coming from it as from an asset perspective, right? So Ange did a lot of exposition into that to say, see, they have the ideology of a big club, but it's executes like a small club, right? And maybe you look at that and probably you see, is that what affected Frank? this season.
Mm.
Is this
Mm.
because guess what? Spurs has lacked a creative outlet for years. Even us rival fans, we know this. Madison, your seemingly most creative player, tears his ACL. And look at the midfield profiles you go to go and get afterwards. You get a Xavi Simons. I will not peg Xavi Simons at the creative levels of a James Madison. Okay,
No.
in January, you had the opportunity again to go and get a creative. You go to go and get a Conor Gallagher. Now, I like Conor Gallagher. I love him. Work with every single thing. It's kind of person that he creates a lot of physicality into your midfield structure. Was that the kind of player they needed
And
to
it's
take
important
them
that
up
you
the
say that
notch?
because my discussion about Conor Gallagher,
I have a
Gallagher always been that.
contrary
Always
opinion,
been
sir.
that. Conor thrives on chaotic control. In a team that would disrupt your style of play, Conor brings the energy into midfield.
Yeah.
But in Premier League as it is now, with the way Tottenham were believed to be setting up, the signing of Conor was quite interesting. They were saying they needed energy in the middle because Bentancur was not consistent with injuries and all of that.
Bentancur was injured. Yes, I get that
Yes,
part.
and all of that. Yes, and I understand. And they had sold Oijborg and
Bissouma
get
is
energy in the middle.
Bissouma is
But there was something always lacking centrally as well, which they
The
never
thing
sorted
about
out.
it is,
That's the creativity. So I was really wondering, was Conor Gallagher signing the immediately needed solution, or they needed to sign someone who could actually control creatively from deep?
I have a question to ask, Bond. So, don't you
go on.
think? So, you guys are saying midfield control, creating
Mm.
from middle, but I don't think Frank's ideology has always been one to create from the middle. I think he has always relied on wing for creation, even down to Brentford. Go and check the kind of midfielders he had in Brentford. He had almost. That's why he went for a Conor Gallagher. He went either a ball winner, and he has always been defensive compatibility in the middle, thrive on creativity from the wings. So I don't think
So
it's.
what do you think then happened? Do you think he was then just unlucky with the way things have been?
So I think he was just unlucky. He didn't have like I said, the Bentancur injured. He did not use Kulusevski.
Bon,
We never had a chance to try out Kulusevski, which could have provided width for him in the wings.
Bon, do you think this is just down to luck, or this is gross incompetence that is dripping down
it's
from the
gross
top?
incompetence for me. You have Dejan Kulusevski injured. You sold Brennan Johnson. I'll not say Brennan Johnson was giving them a lot of things anyway, right? You get okay. Ask yourself this question: where are the current profile replacements for some of these injured players? Is he an Odebe? He got Odebe from Burnley. He does not have that much game time in the top flights. He got it from Burnley that relegated. That does not mean that he's a bad player. He's a very fine player, and you got him in. There's no really experience to translate, right? The Universal, as you said, has not really played so much game. Richarlison is out injured. Solanke has been on and off. You then was going to get Kolomwani. Would you say Kolomwani is the style of player that Thomas Frank needed? Because even Kolomwani has actually struggled for minutes under Thomas Frank. He has played more in Europe. So I think I look at all that stuff. Yes, easy makes the point.
But was injured. He was injured.
Even when he came back, he
was injured for a long time. Even had to he has to wear a mask
even when he came back, he has not played so much games.
In your opinion, Spurs used to be in the top 4 traditionally. They used to be in top 4. Whatever the case was, they would try and make Europe in one way or the other.
Yes,
that was history. Are they becoming a banter club like this?
Yes, sir. I don't understand. The season before,
they escaped relegation in England, majorly, sir.
They escaped relegation. This season, how many points they are in that same zone? To me, they are
3
not.
points or so.
Yes, no, they're almost in that same zone. It's a banter club. First of all, I don't think there's any team that.
One more thing I want you to comment on, in addition, is you mentioned something now that it looks like there are 12 games to go. They are teetering over the relegation zone. And they then go on to bring in Igor Tudor. I don't know if Igor Tudor has Premier League experience with Premier League games coming.
Premier League experience?
And we know that the relegation battle is a muddy dogfight.
Ojo, he just left your club.
Do you think this is the right decision?
He just left your club. Does he have Premier League experience? Does he have the experience to get?
If I'm going to speak about Igor Tudor, I would begin to become sentimental. To be honest, I felt Igor Tudor at some point in Juventus, it wasn't just up to the level that is needed at a top club from a coach. But well, this is Premier League, and we don't know if Tottenham is still a top club. So, and that's why I'm asking now. All of this going on, with all of this going on easy,
Okay.
is this? Do you still think it is luck, or this is incompetence, and people should be called out beyond the coach? People higher than the coach need to be called out. What are your thoughts?
So the thing about it is, like you said, like I've said, Tottenham right now are in danger, right, of going into relegation. I even heard there's a relegation clause in some of their contract. I'm like, why would a big club even have that inserted in their players? It means that you guys are already preparing for the worst. You can't expect a Barcelona, you go to Barcelona and they're having a relegation clause in their contract. Automatically, I think they already know their level. They know that, they might not be in the top four for a long time now. And to them, it's not, they are trying to, let's still make Europe, let's still make carpet. So I think they brought in Ugotudo for basically one thing. Ugotudo is a very pragmatic coach. And when you want to escape relegation or you're in danger of falling down, what you need is someone that will just stick to the basics. It's not going to add extra. It's not going to do anything. It's just going to better play to the strengths of the players that you have, right? And try to make lemonade out of the lemons that he has been given. That's what he's going to do. He's going to just do that. And that's why they didn't give him a long-term contract, because if he does that and, he's able to they might not necessarily want to keep him longer than that, because he was just brought in to solidify the ship so that their worst fears doesn't come to play. So I think that's
And
what.
with the other advantage, and with the other advantage that there are a lot of coaches free in the summer. So
Do you get? So they
give him a
don't
lot.
want to make a decision
Well,
now.
in
So
in
I
all
think
of this, as a Juventus fan, I'm really grateful to Tottenham Hotspur because they, sacking Igotudo after sacking Thiago Motta meant we continued paying them because they had not found a club and we terminated their contract,
Yeah.
sort of. So we had to continue. So I'm really, really grateful to them for really taking Igotudo off our wage. Hopefully, someone will come for Thiago Motta soon. But to go from there, Izzy mentioned something now, Bon, that Igotudo will steady the ship. He's not a risk-taking coach. He's not going to add anything extra. Bon, when we are talking about relegation dogfight, with the profile of players that Tottenham have signed over the last 12 months, do you think Igotudo and the profile of players they have are capable and built for the kind of football that will be needed to get the results to make them stay in Premier League?
Okay, so Easy made a fair point. Igotudo is pragmatic, and when you look at relegation dogfights or maybe performance towards avoidance of relegation, you need a bit of pragmatism. But I'm going to cite somebody that this season has even shocked me. I'm sure probably I've mentioned it. I'm going to use him as a reference. Daniel Farke, the current Leeds manager. I've always had an issue with him. Before this season, I always thought this guy comes back to the Premier League, he will go back. He and Scott Parker in that same boat for me. That is why I'm almost 70% sure. Let me not say 70%. Let me be very conservative. Let me say 50% sure that Burnley will get relegated.
I don't understand.
Right?
50%. Okay.
I
Yeah,
want to be.
it's
Let me
90%.
leave.
Oh.
I'm conservative in this one.
It's 90%.
So let me-
No, Burnley they go down. Burnley
Let me
they
say
go
the-
down.
And to be very honest, that for me is down to this philosophy of the manager. More often than not. But then Faki has done something. He came and he has tweaked in a way the way his team plays. Then I play with the back three. I think this is like the first time in a very long time. It was this period of things. He always looked like a back four manager to me. Right? But he's playing out the back three has made them very back and narrow. Now he's being pragmatic, but he's taking the game to teams. My problem is can he go to actually do that? When
And it's important that
he
you
can
say that
maintain his-
because he used to play with a back three in Juve. He got
Yes.
to play. That's
He's a back
the
three.
team. He played with the back
3-4-2-1
three.
now.
And the funny thing with the back three was playing with was, when people play with a back three, they are playing in such a way that when the ball goes forward, there's more bodies to commit forward because there's only three players at the back. It's like all your wing backs, all your full backs turn to wing backs. They are flying forward. But Igotudo is not like that. The football becomes sterile. The transition
Yeah.
becomes slower.
Now that you mentioned transition, there was something that I noticed. There was when me and Izzy were just this morning, just before the pod, right? Sometimes the general notion about the back three system is that it's very pragmatic. It's just defend. We are going to defend here, but not entirely true. Sometimes a back three when you decide to say the central progression you are going to focus on can be quite deadly. That's why you can see Crystal Palace Oliver last night play back three, but they are one of the deadliest teams in transitions in the Premier League. That's because what Glasner prioritizes is a narrow view to progress the ball through the middle. They don't even nothing concerns them and your wing. You can hit the wing for all they care. They will go to the middle and they will move it because what it means is that the team that they are playing against, since they are keeping a very, very compact mid block, it means that they are able to pressurize that team to create spaces behind and they don't capitalize on those spaces. But my issue is, can Eagle to do this? Because look at stylistically the kind of players you have. If you are going to mold them to a battery system, it means a Pedro Porro will turn from a fullback into a wing back. Does he have the
That's what
skill
I'm saying
set
about the
to run
profile of
that?
players they have.
No, but
Yeah?
no, but Pedro,
Does he have the skill
but
set to run
the
that?
Pedro Pero normally for me, I feel he is a wing back. I feel putting him in a back four limiting. He's someone that likes to maraud.
Yeah. We will see how that works because yes, you have a point. He takes up very high, he overlaps a lot. So yeah, that may actually now suit it. Let's now look at Udogie actually can play as a wing back too.
Like
to
I
be fair.
said,
Udogie
so
has
I
that same
think that
overlapping
signing
instinct.
was made. I think the signing was made because they want to. They had checked the profile of the player. He
Okay.
plays a
Well,
3-4-1-2.
when you say
Udogie and Pedro Pero will most likely be at the
Pedro
wings.
Porro.
They have centre backs, they have Dragosin, they have Romero, they have Van de Ven. That can be in a back three.
let's not forget the profile of the
And that
coach
be
as
down
well.
so.
There's something we cannot neglect. And I'm going to just read this off Twitter as I found it. 2015, sacked by PAOK due to unsuccessful results and raging comments about the quality of the team. This is a tweet by Matt Scott. 2017,
It's a
sacked by
very long
Galatasaray.
tweet. I saw that post.
2017,
post.
sacked by Galatasaray after only 10 months. And 18, sacked by Udinese after only 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
But they rehired
2020. This is where it gets interesting. As Juve's assistant manager after one season.
Assistant manager.
How bad can you get? 2022 by Hellas Verona after one season. 2023 resigns from Marseille after one season and publicly slams the club. 2024 lasts only 3 months at Lazio. It was interesting and underwhelming to see that the Juve admin decided that this guy was the next best fit. In 2025, he was signed and he was sacked at Juventus after 7 months.
So don't you think the Tottenham Hotspur people have checked this, and that's the reason why they gave him a short-term contract?
My question is, when do you start questioning the veracity and quality of a coach with a CV that is this thick?
Very inconsistent, actually. They haven't thick. If you stick with progress, you will say, but that does not show like progress to me.
I'm being ironic. No, it's really interesting. And to put things into context, I'm also going to read off from the official league site, their next fixtures. Sunday, 22nd of February, Tottenham are at home to Arsenal. Igotudo is going to be in charge. 1st of March, they are going to be away to Fulham.
I think that first game favors Arsenal titleless hopefuls like us that don't want Arsenal to win title because, like I said, there's not going to be a preparation for that game. So,
4 days later.
Surprise
4 days
package.
later. Okay. 4 days later, they go on to face Crystal Palace at home. Then on 15th of March, they'll face Liverpool away. Then on the 22nd of March, this is going to be a relegation battle as well. They are going to face Nottingham Forest. Now, these are their next games within the next 1 month for Igotudo. Things are going to come really thick and fast.
Very, very tough games, actually.
Very thick and fast.
And
the next game after the next set of fixtures in 1 month is that they are going away to Sunderland. What we are saying is that they are currently positioned at 16th in the Premier League table on 29 points. 2 points above 20, cannot afford a drop. Looking at those fixtures,
no, the question should be going to you. What are you trying to imply? Are you implying that they'll be getting relegated? It's you that's supposed to answer that question, huh? You're not supposed to answer that question because that's what you're implying.
I think it's a question that is ripe enough to be obvious to everybody. You know when mango is ripe on a tree, you can see it from afar.
Those games are very, very...
Is the relegation going to be interesting? Are we going to see Tottenham in the championship next season?
See, Tottenham cannot afford to be in the championship. No, we don't
You
have
already
$1
said they
billion
were
stadium.
putting relegation clauses in the contracts of their play. So
I don't know
you
what they
know
were
there's
thinking,
something
though,
people
but they
that
can't
people
afford
that
it.
have that are faith based, Christians, Muslims. There's something they usually say. In fact, atheists even believe that is a natural order of life, that you speak things into existence. When you speak things, you continue to live it. It begins to affect the way you relate, the way you function. If you are inserting relegation clauses into your
They are
contracts
preparing for
of your player,
relegation.
then that means that you're already thinking about relegation.
As a big
And
club,
now they
oh,
are placed
as a big club, as a supposed big club.
they are placed 16th, 2 points up above Nottingham Forest. What do you
So the
think?
thing is that
What that question that you
Tottenham,
asked, what do you think?
Tottenham and Nottingham Forest, for a couple of reasons, cannot afford to get relegated. And I think is what has prompted Marinakis to really just go on the trend of correcting a mistake that he should not have made in the first place, because they can't afford to get relegated. The coach, the Nottingham Forest, are even going for, right, stylistically suits their. He will probably work with the profile of players they have. Is Vitor Pereira is rumored to become the new Nottingham Forest coach. I think he has had a brief stint with working with Marinakis in Olympiacos too as well.
Olympiacos, yeah.
And he played
Yes, Olympiacos.
and I think he played a 3-4-2-1. But not like it's not like the normal 3-4-2-1. The 3-4-2-1 does not work with a low block. It does a mid block. He prefers a mid block. He likes transitions. So with the crop of players they have, it probably will work because you have an Olaeno and Nico Williams as wing backs. And I think Olaeno actually does better as a wing. He knows how to marrow and go. Problem now is that we can say Vitor Pereira can suit Nottingham Forest because our Wolves, he was sent around that scene and he kept them up. Right? So I think is that thinking that Marinakis has used to go and get Vitor Pereira now. But my problem is with Igor Tudor. When you look at the CV, Ojo said that the CV is very thick. It does not give confidence to say
No, wait now.
that this guy
Wait.
keep them up.
See, wait.
Before you answer, I want you to put something in context as well. You know, you were saying that Burnley 90% sure that they are going to be relegated. They won against Crystal Palace. Wait, they are 18 points. They have 18 points now, following 26 games. They are 6 points behind West Ham, above them, placed 18th. They are 9 points behind Nottingham Forest, above them, placed 17th. And
They're
they
11
are
points behind.
11 points behind Tottenham. Placed above them at 16th. There is 12 games to go. I just want it to sink in. You can want to comment.
Wait. So give me one thing first. How many points does Tottenham have? Do they have up to 10?
They have
29.
29 points after 26 games.
So in the usual fashion, they need 11 points to survive.
Do you think 11 points will do it this season?
For because
relegation?
normally 40
Look at people.
40
Look
is
at
the
all the people
benchmark.
around. There's Crystal Palace, there's Brighton, there's Leeds, there's Tottenham, there's Nottingham Forest, there's West Ham.
You said they need 11 points, right? They're 11, and Burnley is 11 points behind them. So Burnley needs 22 points to survive. Burnley's already out. That's what I'm saying. Burnley's already out. If you are insinuating that Tottenham is gone, where Burnley wants to see, this is we're in game 26, and Burnley has 18
are
points.
gone.
Burnley have not changed their manager.
They are not.
They have not.
They will probably not change.
They probably not change. They're used to it.
They
It's
have
a normal
not signed
thing.
Godinho.
See, so wait, you guys. I think you guys are shitting on Godinho, and this is why, right? So Juventus
I'm not shitting on Godinho.
were in crisis.
I'm not shitting on
right? After they got Agomota.
When we just spread out very, very beautiful
CV. When Thiago Motta left Juventus, right? Igotino was brought in. He was brought in on a short-term contract, Chibi. But he did very well. And you guys renewed that shit.
He wasn't brought in to a relegation.
No, it wasn't relegation now. You guys were in crisis. But you guys were in crisis.
But
you guys were in crisis.
There is a minimum standard at Juve that even the lowest of coaches, you cannot perform below.
So
this is Premier League, where Premier League is such a place that people don't give you space. If you snooze in the last 15 minutes of a game, you will smell your own fart. People will come and present you mess like this. People will come present your mess for you, make you smell. Within the last 15 minutes.
Funny enough, is thank God for you that just brought these stats. I think it's actually something that we also need to look at, because the last 15 minutes of games this season has been where a lot of teams have either lost points or gained points. So it's a very
Exactly.
important
And you're
duo.
bringing
And
in someone without Premier League experience.
We can use Liverpool this season as a yardstick. In the first 5 games of the season, they won points in the last 15 minutes, and then
do you
it
get
got
so
to some part of the games, they said to lose
it's very
points.
vital
So
to how. But I honestly feel Tottenham will not go down, right? I feel Igotino will be able to get 11 points from a possible 36. 11 points out of 36 is possible now.
let's
I know
use
Well,
we
let's
won
use
anyway
no,
still.
no, no, no.
well,
Let's use see for me the game against Arsenal. People will say, no, no, it's Arsenal after we beat them. But for me, I want to look at that game very well. Even if he loses the game, I would like to see how he actually sets up the team.
So I'm even
hmm.
going to make a very
See how
bold
he
call.
sets the team.
I'm going to make a very bold call. Arsenal do not beat
Easy, you will
Tottenham.
make a bold call regardless.
Okay, we'll be here, and our viewers
You
would
make a
also
bold call
be open
regardless.
to. Please, our comment section is open. You can direct questions and comments and banters at easy, as you very well know. But well, to move away from the chaos at these two clubs at Nottingham and Tottenham. Okay, well, let's move on then. Let's move on to the second topic, which we were going to discuss today, which is about Michael Carrick. I love the football I've watched in the last 4-5 weeks.
I
A
am also very
neutral.
impressed.
I'm excited watching Manchester United play like that again. But we've talked about the excitement. Beyond the excitement on the pitch when they are attacking, when Manchester United is off the ball, do they still excite you? Easy.
So the thing about it is, so let me look at it this way. It's not about so the excitement people are saying. So I think for the first time this season, they have played United. They have played City, they have played Arsenal, they have played Fulham, right? They have played West Ham. The two most difficult games for them were Fulham and West Ham. West Ham even being the most difficult, right? Because they were not allowed to play the way they would expect them to play. Because these two teams don't rely on control, right? You would always have them depend on these two teams will cede possession to them. Nuno is also a West Ham. Nuno set up in a way where he prevents the mid block, right? There's that mid block is there, so you cannot play centrally. United being able to play centrally was vital to how they defeated Arsenal and Man City because they were able to occupy spaces in that middle. They were also very quick to transition, like they had wingers that were very quick to counter and they had that bit. So they have only played one low block team in that whole bit, a team that doesn't allow that central movement, right? And that team is West Ham, and you can see how they suffered, right? Because for the first time, they are the ones that have to have control, not the ones having to. Oh, other people are also jostling for control for them. So a lot of the teams they are going to be playing are teams that would also set up like that. I think we'll have to wait and see how he responds. His response against West Ham was okay. It wasn't superb, but it was okay. But we'll have to see when they play teams like that, how they will respond. Because a lot of these managers, difficulty for them is, even for Rosena's Chelsea, is the question that we asked before then was, oh, how would they respond to teams that normally would cede control and just allow you have the ball while that bit. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But so far, I think he's doing an amazing job at United.
Bon, to come to you, one of the things Easy as I referenced was the game against West Ham. And I'll leave it to you to do justice to what went on tactically, especially in the second half between West Ham, what West Ham's response was to Carrick's type of football. But before you do justice to that, I'd like you to comment on something, and that is Carrick's football identity, taking into consideration what has gone on historically before he got to United, when he wasn't even first team coach at United. What exactly is Carrick known for? What is Carrick ball? What is it exactly?
So Carrick's board, right? First of all, we need to look at Carrick as a manager and the kind of formation he uses. But not technically kind of formation. Yeah, it's good for you to set up a team. They tell you that the team is set up in a 3-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2. But then you need to actually look at in possession and out of possession. One of the things that Carrick does is Carrick sets up the team in a 4-2-3-1. Of course, conventional 4-2-3-1. Coaches that are very keen on control and possession use a 4-2-3-1 system because it can morph into a lot of other things. But the thing is, I've always been of the opinion that Manchester United as a team were always suited to a 4-2-3-1. A 4-2-3-1 was the thing that they were the most suited for. A 3-4-3 from Amorim was going to cause his problems, and it surely did cause his problems, especially because Amorim was particularly rigid. in a way, right? That's the difference between he and Carrick. Carrick has a bit of tactical flexibility to him. But I don't think we've seen a lot of him in a top flight league to know if he can respond, because the championship is different. Now, he resigned, he retired in 2018, became a first team coach at Manchester United in 2018, where I think was first of all to using Mourinho, I think it was in Mourinho's backroom staff, then in Oregon as Solskjaer backroom staff as the first team manager. And then he left when OGS was sacked, took up the interim. And in part of one of the unique things about him being interim manager in short stint was that he defeated Mikel Arteta. I think that was the first time he actually ever beat Mikel Arteta and Arsenal team. And then he went to Middlesbrough. And in Middlesbrough, he kind of did well. But when you look at it historically, 3 seasons it was at Middlesbrough, because he joined Middlesbrough in, I think, December 2023 or so, took them up to the playoff position, right? They went up to playoff position. They lost in the playoff semi-final to Coventry, if I'm not mistaken. And the next season, they finished 8th. And this season that he was sacked in, they were 10th. What does that tell you? That it's possible teams find him out. But we are yet to see that at United. We've not seen a lot of him. He's doing very, very well in interim. We don't know if he's going to be given the job come the summer, but that is one of the things about the English Premier League. Is why Pep has been Pep. Is why Pep has survived for this long. Pep is just the chameleon. Even this season, he has still changed something. This season, that man has changed something now. He will always find a way to be ahead. So that has helped Pep. And even
You saw
Arteta
that
too.
presser. You saw that presser where someone asked him a question about an article he wrote back in the day. Pep is a manager of managers. God.
Pep is not your normal coach. This season, I think me and Izzy were discussing about how Arteta this season became more risk averse than risk.
Yes, now, because
this season,
he has to win.
Has gone.
He's under pressure.
He has to win. So it's okay. But
so
that's
he has
the thing
to adopt
about
the mentality of a winner.
Yeah, that's the thing about the top coaches in the EPL this season. I am shying away from calling Slot, because Slot has really not shown us that he can adapt yet. But we can leave that one. So for Arteta and Pep, you can see that. But what has Carrick done? Carrick sets his team up like normal formation is a 4-2-3-1. But he presses in possession, he does a 3-2-5, where he presses with 5, right? And deploys the rest defense of 3-2. So that in case of overloads, they can now move into a 4-4-2, right? Out of possession, they run a 4-4-2 diamond press, right? But they actually also keep a mid block. So you see that he keeps a mid block, which was what Izzy referenced in West Ham. What West Ham did against him, what Nuno did was Nuno went and actually now also deployed a mid block. Because if you look at the way he positions, Carrick in United, they've caused overload at one flank. Right? What Nuno now did against West Ham, that overload place, he himself went to go and overload there too. You want to overload, I will also overload. So it was hard for them to progress the ball out. One of the tactical switches that Carrick did to be able to get into the game was to remove Maguire. Not because Maguire was playing poorly, but more likely because he needed more legs. Maguire couldn't run as much, and I think he felt his hamstrings in the game. So he brought in a Lenny Euro that could keep pace, be able to recycle and counter the ball if West Ham were trying to progress into dangerous areas. He also brought in a Benjamin Sesko, right, that was able to cause him pressure and overload. So they were able to get the lifeline. That was why immediately Ibrahimovic got the ball, he brought him to spin and was able to score the goal. That was one of that switch. But Nuno was able to read Carrick's style of play. Carrick has actually also not relied on wing play the way Amorim was doing, where he was relying on the flanks. Carrick is trying to do central progression. How can we progress this ball centrally? And somehow against low block teams.
And it's another thing that West Ham did well against them. West Ham actually forced them to the wings. Forced them to the wings.
Yeah. That was so because what's
again, at this point, it's interesting to mention this because this was one of the things we covered in that video where we discussed tactics mid block and low block, where one of the things that you are able to do in mid block is to be able to force the ball into areas where things are less dangerous.
Yes.
Things are less likely to happen. Yes. But
yeah, which was what Nuno did with his mid block. He was able to force out Carrick's team to the wings. Typically, when you play against low blocks, they're keeping a very low blocks, and going through the wings is just cross and nod. You just go to the wing and you're crossing and nod. With countering a low block most of the times, if you go through centrally and pick up pockets of spaces, you're able to likely overload those spaces and get whiff of the goal. That is one thing you can see Liam Rosenau has done this season. There's a particular game where instead of doing a 3-2-5, he did a 3-1-6 in possession. He did a 3-1-6 where there were a lot of bodies in the box. And another thing he has actually done, for me, I feel somehow stylistically, Rosenau and Carrick are quite similar in the fact that they are engine on central progression. That's where you can see that Mino is very pivotal to the way Carrick wants to play. Mino and Casemiro, they are able to do rondos in very, very tight spaces. You get in 1-2 passes, they're able to progress the ball very quick. That is something similar to what Rosenau is doing with Santos and Caicedo at Chelsea.
And it's
Where
interesting that you
close
mentioned
proximity. Yeah,
It's interesting that you mentioned this because one of the things I noticed that Carrick is doing tactically is, you mentioned that his football is based on central progression. And what they try to do is they try to play line breaking passes, especially when
Yes.
teams are
Alessandro
trying to
Martinez
play high pressing
has been key
against
on.
them.
Yeah.
Yes. And what they are then doing with the pass, once Bruno passes and he breaks the line, or someone passes from the back, like the charge, passes from the back and he breaks the lines, they start doing this bounce passing, that rondo, quickly.
Yes,
And
bounce
it causes
passes.
a lot of chaos for many teams. Was how they thrived against Manchester City and Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It enables with that they're able to move into another phase of the pitch easily because by the time it's like so it's something that they used to do in the training where you do pass and the press. So with that you're able to beat presses and you now have someone
And-
like Meno that can just easily maneuver and
Mina
spray no.
Casemiro able to do around
And
those
for our
bounce
listeners,
passes.
in case you've forgotten, for our listeners, you will remember that commentary, Dogu, Fernandez.
Vandes.
Dogu.
And
That is the bounce passing we are talking about.
normally,
So, yeah.
it's easier to defend wing. A zone in the wings is easier to defend than central, right?
So actually one
Because
thing he has actually also done away game too. He has actually done that again where he's using a hybrid marking system. It's not just zonal marking he's doing. There are times where he's able to actually switch to man marking. I think it's one thing that the Athletic released a video interview on what Carrick has done. Right, you can see that against Man City, Carrick in some phases of the play went to a man marking system against it. So he went from it like a zona and he morphed it a bit so that he's able to cause dangerous position and in dangerous areas. Just say if he thrives on central overloads. Those central overloads, one of the outputs of the central overload is the bounce passes, where you're able to do very fast combinations. And as I said, I'm seeing a lot of similarities right now. At least in the last 2-3 games between Carrick and Rosenau, it's quite similar. Menu is pivotal to Carrick, the way Santos is now pivotal to Rosenau. Because it's easy for him to move the ball fast in central areas.
Bon, now that you've mentioned this, one of the things you mentioned was, Carrick's history, historically, what he is experiencing at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, what he has been able to deploy at the moment compared to what he has, deployed in the past at Middlesbrough when he was assistant manager, what he was known to do in the interim. One thing we can, however, acknowledge is that Carrick is also evolving. What are your thoughts about the way they've started playing corner kicks and set piece?
Okay, so
Ojo, leave Colin set piece alone.
I know where Ojo is going to. Ojo, you are doing something very, very mean. I know what you want to say now is that you want to drag outside to the mud. What did Arsenal do to you?
Oh, God.
Okay, no, see.
So it's not the Arsenal. It's just that they are. When someone does something that is brilliant, when you are looking at something, it's brilliant, it's clean. Nobody is tickling you. Nobody is elbowing the keeper. You have to
drag Arsenal finally. Thank you very much
I'm not
for
mentioning
bringing Arsenal to the move.
Just land. We know where you're going to. Just land.
The thing is that those goals from set pieces. Now, and in our previous episode where we spoke about set pieces, I think one thing that we all agreed on is that it's not a bad thing for set pieces to get reinvigorated into the league. It's not bad, right? Because what it does is that it creates multiple outlets for you to get these goals that you dearly need. And as a big team, when you play against it that sits low, you need this edge to come up. Arsenal would not have loved what Mikel Kayode did to them because that was a very, very beautiful goal. That was a very, very beautiful goal. It was well worked. But I'm using the term well worked because that is also what
Do you know I had to go and start watching Rory the lap again after I watched that throwing? What a throw.
That throw was bullet. Proper bullet.
Throws. Rory the lap used to make throw-ins be like crosses. My
Yes.
God, throw-ins will be having spins on them.
Izzy was saying probably, and it's what we said last week, where it looks like the way tactics are evolving, we also change player recruitment styles. Clubs could go now and say, let's go and look for one guy that used to throw javelin. You have the mechanics to throw. It's hard to be built. You get. I'm not saying Mikel Carrick throw javelin, but he is morphed into that. And the same way Ampadu does it for Leeds. Ampadu also has a very deadly throw as well. You could see that causing issues for Chelsea when we played against them. It's not that we were able to effectively defend against them better. In the first leg, it caused us a lot of issues. Get. What I'm trying to say is that with the set piece routine, it's something that a lot of clubs are going to adopt in various shapes or form. And for this season, have done their own. Their throwing routines are top notch. I don't even think they even have a corner routine like that as top notch as their throwing routines. The goals that United have scored in recent times from corner kicks, well worked goal. That's Mbeumo goal. I think it was Bruno to Menu to Mbeumo, and it was straight out from the training.
And
Right?
that thing is scary.
Yes, it is.
You know what's scary about that? United are out of a lot of. There's no other. They're just going to play in the league. I think
It's
from
just
their last league
it's
game,
one game a season.
from their last league game, from their last match to their next match is 13 days. Carrick is doing a lot of things in training. Carrick is doing a lot of things in training.
He has time to experiment.
It's sure to see a lot of training routines that you would normally not see on the pitch. You would see it in this period because I feel he's going to be doing it. Because when was the last time we saw someone take a that for me that corner kick routine was beautiful. That was
Just
a
2
very
touches now.
beautiful corner kick.
It was 3 touches.
Simple, effective. No need for you to drive and you're going to be seeing a lot of them. Just like how you are seeing that Rondo. You are going to be seeing a lot of things that you will see in training. You'll be seeing them on the pitch again. So yeah.
In a way, as Izzy has said, right, Carrick kind of. So it's like United not being in a lot of competition is like a blessing now. He has time.
Yeah.
Like for example, now all the English clubs played midweek are playing this weekend. United is not involved. The next game is in next week, so they have 2 weeks to rest. I think the club are going to face less. What are they facing next again, please?
Well,
What are they
easy
facing next?
with what we said now. I want you to comment on 2 things. So yes, there's a lot of praise going around. There's a lot of excitement and everything. Carrick has been said to be very calm. All of that. Is this just OGS version 2.0 we are looking at? Also, what is still lacking? Because remember OGS had this long manager bounce that happened. I think it was almost 10 games that time. Then he followed up the next season with an insane record of a perfect season without losing away from home with United. So with Carrick now, are we looking at a similar version? Also, what is lacking? What is still lacking with Carrick's style of play? And do you think he can be backed with, like, let's say, let me just think up a figure. Let's say £150 million worth of investment over the summer. Do you think Carrick is that kind of coach that they should be backing with that kind of money?
So the thing about it is, United have a history of having interim coaches do very well. The interim coaches don't fail because a lot of times they look at Alex Ferguson boys that understand, that were there from the formative years, so they understand what it is to be a United player. Carrick,
Was
OGS.
Ralf Rangnick an interim at first?
Yes, now yes. Well, Ralf Rangnick is the only interim that has a win percentage lower than 50. I think he had 38. He's the only one. They have had 4 other interims. They have had Ruud van Nistelrooy. They have had Ryan Giggs. They have had Carrick in 2 stints, and OGS. Like you mentioned, OGS was so fantastic. First 8 games, all wins. The 5 wins they're coming for, OGS did 8. He gave them straight 8. In 19 games, I think he won. He had 14 or 15 wins. So they did very well on that. So they have that begs the question that, so I get your point when you say, is this an OGS 2.0? Because it's easy to get carried away with how it's going on. A lot of people were carried away because of that, because OGS also played very beautiful. No team were better in transition than United.
One of the best transitions. One of the best transitions I've seen.
I've ever seen, bro. So
OGS was deadly.
So we have been here before, right? So I think I've always said it before that when people say United don't have players, I feel United have these players. I think they are 1 or 2 transfers away from having a very solid team. Maybe they need, since Casemiro is good, they need a control heavy DM, someone that would sit can also defend and can also make those passes. So it's
They'll
maybe
likely go and get
I
an Adam Watts.
I
No,
don't want
then
watching off the ball does not favor United. And Elliot Anderson would favor United
Oga, I
over
don't want anybody to get Elliot Anderson. Please.
Elliot Anderson would
Leave.
favor.
I am here marking that boy for Chelsea.
in all of this, you guys
Just
are
leave him.
forgetting
Let
that
them go and get Adam
they have
Watson.
Ugati. They have Ugati.
Abejo. Ugarte go still go abeg,
See,
please. It's
Ugarte
not
will
Ugarte
go.
is not
Because the thing about it
Ugarte is
that,
surplus retirement.
as Izzy has
It's always
said,
surplus retirement.
Because you've
there's
mentioned
a
this now,
profile of
do you think
midfielders that
mm,
United
do you
need
think
now.
do you think Carrick is improving players individually from what you've watched? Or is it just playing them to their best strengths?
I
Why,
think he's playing
Prof?
it to their best strength. I think he's
Exactly.
playing it.
So
Because
nobody's
So
what
really
Bruno is
improving.
doing now is
they have
Bruno.
is Bruno.
So
What
speak
Mbeumo
up,
is doing
Bruno.
is in Mbeumo. Cunha is doing exactly what he likes to do. Take a spike. Everybody is allowing them express themselves while also controlling the freedom of expression. Right? You can express yourself when you get the ball. Okay, express. I know he's doing what we know Meno to do. People used to call him
Yeah.
the miniature savvy, the English savvy. So he's doing a lot of that. It's something like that. So I don't think he's improving. It's just letting you do what you can do and how what you can do can help the team generally.
The
So
So
yeah,
only player,
what separates Carrick now? What separates Carrick from elite managers? What is still lacking? What do
yes
we
now,
expect from him that
Joe,
he
is you need
doesn't
to do
have
it,
yet?
two
you need to do
things.
it consistently
Two
now.
things. He has mentioned one. So consistently, and if he's found out, how would you respond?
How would you respond?
His adaptation to, because you mentioned elite manager. For it to be elite, you get found out at some point. The reason why you cannot find Pep because Pep is adapting. You discover Pep don't do bang bang. He don't switch. Okay, now
Easy
you
said.
see how
Even when they found out Pep, this season, because Pep has been found
so
out
he's
a
always
couple of
switching.
times.
So I think he's
The
so I think
January transfer window was a reset. Like he just wants to go and get players that he wanted to use for specific deadly
do you get
denominations. Because when he was going for a Semenyo, you were like, Semenyo in Bournemouth that used to up the line. Why are you getting it? What is Semenyo going to do for you?
do you get
Semenyo is playing centrally.
I even said he wasn't a Pep player.
Semenyo is
To me,
playing
that transfer did not make
centrally.
sense.
Semenyo now is playing centrally. So Gay, he got a Gay now. Gay now, if Gay continues playing this way, I don't know. Some CBs will find it hard.
So yeah, so I think it's two things. He has to do it consistently and he has to be able to adapt when he's been found out. Like I said, he showed glimpses of an adaptation against West Ham. They will need to see it more often to say, okay, he has actually learnt the game and is willing to do that. But apart from that, like I said, it feels like, as Bonner said, he and Rosen are on the track to greatness, right? They look like they know the game. So all we just take his time. So with time, we'll know if he's a fraud or if he's elite.
Well, that's interesting. And, from what you've said now, I've gone on to check Manchester United's next few fixtures. Just bear with me one moment. Their next games, I think they play Everton away, like you said, in 11 days, around 9 to 11 days time. Then they play Crystal Palace. They host Crystal Palace at home. And after that, they play Newcastle. 3 days. I think that's the shortest one they have. They play Crystal Palace on 1st of March. Then they go away to Newcastle on 4th of March. And then they host Aston Villa on 15th of March. 11 days in between. Then the next time they play again is 5 days after. They go away to Bournemouth. And then they host Leeds before they face Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on 18th of April. It looks like their next 5 to 7 fixtures, like you mentioned, they really, really have time. And they don't have back-to-back really, really hard. They've played their hard fixtures and they've won them.
Kindly note that, the two teams, you mentioned Newcastle, you mentioned Villa, right? Those people would have
European playoffs.
Newcastle European engagements during that period. So it's like I said, the fact that a lot of teams have played 40 games already this season and United are going to play 40 games at the end of this season was them. They
Arsenal
have
already played 40 games already.
Do you get? So, like I said, it favors them. The next 2 games are winnable because although Everton away will be tricky. Moyes is going to be somehow. Moyes likes to fight back against teams that he had coached before. They don't have a very good record against Moyes. Against you mentioned Crystal Palace. With Glass now, we don't know what to expect. They considered 3 goals. I think that's the first time someone is winning at 40th minute 2-0 and you are losing the match under 5 minutes in the first half. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of game before.
Was a defensive switch up. It was very, very funny actually.
With Palace, it's like this, like so you can't know what to expect. Where I feel they would have difficulties in is Newcastle and Aston Villa. Those two also have European engagements in that period. It might still tilt towards their favor because they get to practice more.
Also,
and
there's a lot of variables. Injuries can happen and all those
at
things.
that point in time. So yeah. So like I said, it favors them.
Bon, to come back to you, if you look at the Premier League table now, Manchester United sit 4th with 45 points after 26 games, and they are 12 points behind the top of the table. If you look at Twitter, there had been a language, there had been a culture, there had been a leaning towards the belief that there is the possibility, although far, but there is the possibility, the hope, and around that could, some people think they could actually challenge for the title this season. It sounds ridiculous, but what are your thoughts?
You should challenge next season.
Sorry, which team is that? Which team
Is
is
United is talking about?
So
they should
so I
challenge.
feel
They should challenge next season.
They're just 12 points
so
behind
United's
the top
difficulty.
of the table.
United's difficulty has not always been facing
And
up
they
with the
have
big
time.
sides.
They
Apart from
have time.
Liverpool,
They have space in between
Exactly.
fixtures. They have time to rest.
so apart from Liverpool, I think every other big team find it difficult to play United, right? Only Liverpool has had their way. Like it has been a proper beating. Apart from this season, I think Liverpool lost the first leg. Our other big teams find it difficult. United's issue has always been they find it difficult to get points against smaller opponents, which they'll be facing a lot of during this period. And the smaller opponents do also have this time of rest because they don't have European engagements. So like I said, I think it will even itself out at some point. But a title charge, top 4, hell yeah. So yeah.
Okay. So
They
to come back to you,
challenge
Bon.
title charge next season.
Okay. Now, you've mentioned that, and that's very clear and loud, right? But we've just recently, been graced with the news that, I think that was yesterday or day before, that Michael Carrick won the Manager of the Month.
Jinx.
And that's why I was going to say this. Because historically, fans of clubs have been known to vote for the managers of other clubs to win
So
Manager of the Month.
Arsenal fans.
Because of the
Mention now.
belief.
Arsenal fans. Mention now. They're looking for ways to win the trophy, even on and off the pitch. Arsenal fans, mention now. And then they do that kind of thing.
What are your thoughts? Do you think this is going to play into what we are going to see over the next 4 weeks for Michael Carrick?
Look, I like to take it a game at a time. It's going to show me. It's Everton that is the next game. And they're going away to the EOD Gibson Stadium. And as Izzy said, Moyes against clubs he has coached before. It's like a personal vendetta. Like he just does not like to lose to them. I don't know why. So we'll just see how it just goes, really. But let's him face Everton first. And I will see. I would like to see how he actually performs against a Moyes' team. Because a Moyes' team will give him like a blueprint to how he can probably play other smaller teams that would want to, keep the box and everything. Let's see how he performs from the learnings of a Nuno and a Moyes. And let's see from.
Against Nuno was his most difficult team. I think Nuno's West Ham and Moyes' Everton have similar type of play. The off the ball possession, on the ball possession, they have that bit. So it's another chance to see, are we going to, because they are going to have the control. So let's see what they can do with that. So yeah.
Do you see him managing beyond this summer though?
It's very likely.
United have always been
very likely.
United is an emotionally based club. Their emotions are always they make decisions with emotion. If he does very well, they might hand him the reins. They did that with Ole, so if he's an OGS 2.0, they would hand him the reins.
Why would you see if he gets them into the top 4 this season with them playing the way they are playing? Because let's be honest, they are
they might also consider the fact that they play very well, but they might also consider the fact
very
that
good football.
They don't have other engagements.
Results. Well, see, the thing is this: we can't even know how he's going to perform with other engagements. Okay, let's even look at the summer coaching pool. You have a Deserbi that is free.
Which the Deserbi that they have always wanted, though. Remember, United have always wanted Deserbi.
Free. You have a Pochettino that everybody has been touting, even though he's going to go to the World Cup in the United States. Is probably going to be free. Who else again? Who else again is a coach out of a job? Let's see. There's Thomas Frank now that is free. There's a Thomas Frank that is free. So they are coaches, and they probably will be more free. This Postecoglou that is free, there probably will be more that will be free in the summer, right? We don't know if
And there, maybe you got to do might even be free self.
Igo Tudor might be free.
Just
But
leave we got
yeah,
to do alone. Just
but
leave we
but
got to do alone. Leave we got
but
to
the
do
thing
alone.
is,
I know how they pay you as a juvenile fan. Leave we got to do alone.
Igo Tudor show Joe will you should just shake it. But
I
But the
self
thing
have.
is just that if he performs very well, especially as Izzy said, I won't want to tell them emotional fans because United fans are going to when they will come for me. But they have a very huge sentiment to the Ferguson era, right? And somehow the players in that era, when they've been associated with the club, kind of understand
They
what it
tend to.
means to be successful.
True.
Do you get? So it will play as a factor. In fact, it played as a factor when they were considering their interim. They went for OGS and Carrick. OGS was even saying, look, if we do any, he's ready to take, even though I later heard that he wanted something more long term. They get Carrick was, see, just give me these 6 months. I will prove to you guys why you guys should give me the job permanent. So I will not be surprised if Carrick is given the job permanently, to be fair. You know where my problem is? My problem with United right now is not, it's the coach that the Republic gets, and it's one thing that I think getting a Carrick over an Amorim is a plus for me. Why? An Amorim with his system requires specificity in his players with specific styles, right? While I am negating the fact that there are players that are willing to perform very well, right?
Amorim is just Amorim. See, the new people is not be doing a comment. Amorim, if he was in a same word, now handcuff, they're supposed to carry and come out. He's a useless manager, please. Not the more now they talk comparison to. He's a very useless manager.
I actually rated Amorim in the Premier League, but it's one of the reasons why I now stick to my
That
guns.
league,
Saying, look,
that league, la fraud.
sometimes when you
there's
coach
a high-
that league, or
there's
perform
a
in
high
that
chance
league,
there's a high chance you will get a fraud in that league than he gets success. Bruno has been the exception. A lot of the experts from that league now fraud, proper fraud.
Pedro Porro,
And that was why. And that was why we were questioning what Spurs were doing with the signing of Igo Tudor. Well, that brings us to make it a wrap for this episode. Another set of uncomfortable truths. Are some clubs their own worst enemies? And in a football world where, people are looking for the magic wand, quick fixes, does patience still win? Well, big shout out to Bon and Easy today for holding nothing back. If you enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, and share. And drop your takes and comments. Direct them to any one of us if you want. This has been the Match Query. Until next time, question everything.
All right. Peace. Hala Madrid.